Naren, welcome to the podcast. It is such an honor to have you here with us today.
Thank you, Payal. And I'm so happy to be here.
Great. I know how your day used to be like even while you were at Rakuten Symphony and how it is now with your new ventures. And I love the topic that you have picked up, building your individual brand. So before we dive deep into it, tell us a little bit about your career journey. I'm sure in 25 plus years, what you have accumulated, I haven't even read it in a minute.
Hmm. My career journey has been kind of a blend of, curiosity, continuous learning, adapting to different situations that I got into, and, working with different kinds of people in different countries of different caliber, expertise, and experience, and different types of companies as well. So it's been kind of a roller coaster, I would say. I basically started in the tech space as a software engineer. And as an individual contributor, I grew up to distinguished engineer level before I got into management. Over the time, I realized that communication, problem solving, and ability to continuously learn from others is extremely important. So I was happy with the technical value that I was adding, but then I decided that maybe I should start getting into other areas as well. So that's when I started learning management, and I started leading teams. It worked out really well. I had a lot of support from my seniors and other folks. But as I progressed, I kind of embraced all the new opportunities, challenges, irrespective of the tasks that I was doing, whether they are simple, complex. I made sure that I solve problems at any cost. That's what kind of led me to become the VP, COO, MD, president, and the CEO roles. Uh, so in between, I kept checking on my entrepreneurial instincts as well. So I started an online tutoring service platform in USA in 2001. I ran it for like 3 years. And then when I came back to India, I started my own company for mobile applications and services. So I exited after like 5 years. So it's been a very interesting journey so far.
Wow, I didn't know you had so much, like especially that you started off even your own ventures in between. But you said something very interesting. You started learning management. What does that mean? You started learning management that helped you to become what you are.
See, when you actually are too much involved on the technical side uh, of your career, right? You don't deal with a lot of different kinds of people. Actually, you're only working with few people, and you're
Yeah.
focused on what you're supposed to do on solving, architectural problem, design problems, or engineering problems. Uh, but that is like something that you can do on your own. But the moment you start interacting with more and more people,
Mhm.
your management skills need to be at a different level. And that's when a lot of my friends were actually doing MS in US at that time, and I was the only one who decided to do MBA. Now, what the MBA did was, it did teach me some new techniques, new ways of doing things, new way of thinking and everything, but it just enhanced some of the capabilities that I had in myself, right? I was always kind of good with people, but it kind of taught me how to be better with people. So that's what I meant by learning management.
Yeah, it's so true because I do a lot of coaching for IT companies. And
Mm.
what I have seen is most of their people are extremely well placed technically. They have all the functional expertise, knowing the technology, but when it comes to the people side, is where they usually fall short. And I think that's the core of any leader is to be more of a people person.
Right, right. You're absolutely right. I think, for me in my entire career, right, the challenges that I have faced or the work that I have done, I put it in four different categories. I put some in business category, some in product and technology category, and then operations, and then under people. And, uh, someone at a leadership level, they're going to be really good in one of these divisions because they would have worked a long time in those areas. But you have to be kind of okay with all these areas if you are at a leadership level. You don't have to be expert in everything. You could
Correct.
be an
Yeah.
expert in, business, but you have to be okay in product and technology, operations, and people as well. But the most challenging areas uh, are the areas which gave me a lot of challenges and complexities was business and people, technology, product, operations. For some reason, for me, it came very easy for me,
Mm.
right? But many challenges that I think that they were challenges were in business and people areas.
Okay, so I'm going to come to that. But before that, you also mentioned about how you were always focusing on solving problems. So while you are in the company, most of us, what happens is I see people are working, they're doing the hard work, they work on the project, whatever is given. But not many people really look at what problem is going on. So what are some of the ways where people should feel, look around that this is a problem to be solved? Because I think that's really the core of everything.
Right, right. See, I think it depends on the stage at which you are in your career.
Hmm.
Okay. So, not everybody can solve every problem because,
Right.
people have limitations through their experience or expertise and stuff like that, right? So, in a company, if you're part of a company or if you're part of a large organization, right, there are three stakeholders that you have to really, really focus on, right? Number one is basically the people you report to, okay, your supervisor, your manager, and they are basically, looking towards you to solve their problems. They are assigning you work, they are assigning you projects, and as long as you solve their problem, you are you're covering almost like 80% of your responsibility is good. The second stakeholder is basically the people who report to you, right? Now, they are the ones who are going to solve your problems. Okay. So, in order for that to happen in a very, very efficient manner,
Hmm.
what you need to do is basically you need to unblock them from any challenges that they might have. Okay. You don't have to do the work or you don't have to solve the problems, but you just have to unblock them. For example, maybe someone is waiting for someone else to give them information, but they're not getting that information, right? At your level, you can basically go and get that information for them. That's unblocking. In a lot of meetings, when I'm in a lot of technology meetings or business meetings, right, I hear that I'm waiting for someone to respond to my email. I'm waiting for this information from somebody. So that delays a lot of things, right? So you're solving the problems for the people who you report to, and you're unblocking the problems for the people who report to you. And the final stakeholder is yourself, right? So you have your own limitations, right? So you have to work on the limitations that you have. Maybe you are not too strong in one of the technology that is being used in the product that you are managing.
Hmm.
I think you have to put some effort to basically, learn about that technology, understand. You may not be able to add a lot of value during discussions, but you having that understanding is very, very important. So this is why I feel that you should be solving problems for all these three stakeholders, including yourself.
Okay, that's nice because we mostly overlook this aspect that we are here to solve problems. It doesn't have to be like big ones, like you said, but it's your day-to-day things that you are working on. And then you said that one of your major thing was people challenges. Usually, what type of people challenges does one face when they are, at a higher level in the organization? What types of people challenges do we face?
I think, from a mid-level management to CXO roles, the most common challenge that I have faced, and most of my counterparts have faced, is balancing the expectations from multiple stakeholders,
Ah,
right?
okay.
Now, especially when you're at a leadership level, right? Your superiors are basically expecting certain things from you, right? A lot of times they don't tell you what they are expecting also. They just assume that what you're supposed to do, right?
Okay.
And then, the expectations from your counterparts, right? And then expectations from the people who report to you. Maybe they're expecting you to help them more. Maybe they're expecting you to basically, sit with them and, mentor them in a different manner, right? The expectations from HR may be different, finance may be different. So many people you're dealing with,
Hmm.
right? How do you balance their expectations with practicality,
Okay.
right?
Hmm.
At the end of the day, you are there to basically add some value and deliver certain things and solve some problems, right? So one thing I realized, right, in early stages of my career is I cannot make everyone happy,
Yeah.
right? Not everybody is going to be happy, right? So depending on the challenge, depending on the problem, or depending on the outcome that you're working on, you have to categorize. Hey, is this a business centric problem? Is this a people problem? Is this a product problem? Is it a technology problem? Or is it just an operational problem, right? If you categorize the problems that way, then you can pay attention to that, right? I mean, if you're basically, working on a situation where you're going to bring in a huge deal for your company, you have to take a decision in a way that it brings the revenue for your company, and not worry about how some people might feel. Maybe some people might feel that, hey man, this project is not deliverable in 12 months, or maybe, maybe it's not fit for the strategy that we have, something like that, right? So, I mean, depending on the issue and the priority, you just have to decide. And during those times, some people won't be happy,
Hmm.
some people will be happy, and you just have to accept it and keep going, because your intention is not to hurt people. Your intention is to get things done.
The right way.
And most of the people who are at the leadership level or mid management level, they will eventually understand.
Hmm.
They may not understand at that time, but they will eventually understand.
Hmm.
I mean, in my positions as, COO or CEO or president and all those things, right? There have been times where I had to take decisions that favors employees. Employees needed some kind of benefit. So even though HR recommends that, hey, this is going to basically cost additional budget or something like that, right? As a leader, you have to take that decision, right? Because that's why you are there in that position, right? You have to take decisions that may not be comfortable for many people. If everyone is happy, if
Yeah.
every decision that you're going to be happy, right?
Yeah.
Then you need a leader.
Yeah. Absolutely. Then you need someone who's selling ice creams to make them happy.
Exactly, exactly. So I would say, I think, a lot of different expectations from different people. How do you
Okay.
manage practically?
Okay, nice. So, as you were growing, what was the importance of individual branding? Because that was something you're very passionate about. So, when
Mm.
we think about individual branding, what what does that imply? We hear about branding companies and products. What does
Yeah.
individual branding imply?
See, I love this topic because, I have thought through this so many times. I have discussed with my friends and, colleagues many times, right? See, the branding is the value that you add to others. Okay. Your branding is what people think of you,
Hmm.
right? And I don't think anybody can have one branding value, right? I think branding is something that is evolutionary in nature. It keeps on changing,
Hmm.
right? So, for example, if I take an example, right? If you are a junior engineer
Hmm.
joining a startup company, right? I think your branding should be, hey, this guy is very hardworking. That's your brand.
Hmm.
If you are a mid-level engineer, it should be like, hey, this guy, whatever he does, it's high quality, right? If you are a senior engineer, he's a problem solver, because
Hmm.
that doesn't mean that you're not delivering
Hardworking or
quality
something.
stuff.
Yeah.
You're going to keep on adding stuff to your
It's
brand.
evolving. Your brand is evolving.
Evolving, right? And if you're a manager, oh, this guy is a very good planner.
Hmm.
right? I'm just saying one of the examples, right?
Correct.
If
Yeah.
you're a senior manager,
Hmm.
you are like, this guy unblocks any problem that we have. He's an
Hmm.
unblock,
Hmm.
right? And so on and so forth, right? So you keep on building on what you basically, have built already.
Hmm.
So it's always evolving. It's always evolving. If people say that Naren at the CEO level is very, very hardworking, I'm happy, but that's not the brand I want to, promote at my level, right? At
Yeah.
my level,
Absolutely.
uh,
Yeah.
yeah, am I, basically inspiring people? Am I motivating people? Am I a builder? Am I building some, mega projects and mega products? So those are the kind of things. But that involves me to be very hardworking,
Hmm.
problem solving,
Yeah.
and a lot of things is involved.
But why is it like, what is the importance of individual branding?
It's very important because that's how people recognize you,
Hmm.
right? Majority of the people, I don't think they think about branding themselves,
Yeah,
right?
I agree. Yes.
Um, and actually, there's no process also. Even if you
Hmm.
feel that I'm going to brand myself as a hard worker, right? If you don't have it in you, it's not there.
Yeah. It's true.
You might probably end up creating a separate branding for
Yes.
yourself, right? So there's
Absolutely.
no specific process. There's no specific process. It's all you actually, right?
Uh,
Your innate behavior, your upbringing, the way the kind of people that you are surrounding yourself with, they all influence you to be someone,
hmm.
right? And that needs to be reflected. But it's a very competitive landscape, right? If I hire like 10 engineers from a college, if I find somebody to be extremely hardworking, more hardworking than others, right? I look at him as the most hardworking guy, right? So individual branding is extremely, I feel that it's essential because that is what differentiates you from others in your field. It creates a lot of opportunities by making your expertise visible, and it helps you to be recognized for promotions or partnerships or new roles. People come to you. If people look at you as a problem solver, people might come from different departments to you to
Yeah.
solve their problem,
But
right?
how would they know? Like, how would somebody in the organization, there are so many departments, how would somebody know that, hey, you know what? I know this person is for problem solving. Like you
Mm.
said, it will set you apart and people from different departments will come to you. But how would that word spread? How would they know?
It takes time. I mean, nobody actually, unless you are already, very, very famous in the industry or something like that, right? It comes with basically, with time,
Hmm.
right? And again, like I said, there are three things that you should focus on, right? The people that you report to, people who report to you, and yourself. Okay. And the word spreads actually, you know, the bad and the good, both of them actually spreads. And we are
You have a
talking
good
about a lot
brand
of,
and a bad brand.
exactly, right, and we are talking about mostly mid-level to senior leadership, right? And this is the area where if your focus is solving others problems, people will see, because everybody wants their problems to be solved. Okay.
Correct. Hmm.
If I'm leading an organization, I want someone who can solve my problem and not
Yeah.
bother me,
Hmm.
call me in the night and all that stuff, right? And the demand is
Hmm.
there for such people, huge demand for such people.
Hmm.
So as long as you do your thing, and of course you have to communicate what you're doing, and you have to, people should be aware of your strengths and weaknesses and everything. But word spreads, because as the in the pyramid, right, as you keep on growing, the population is less and lesser, right? So whatever you do, it's very clearly visible, but a lot of people.
Got it. Oh, that's nice. And you also mentioned that there is no process or technique to build your brand. So then how would somebody know that what are they good at and how would they build that individual brand?
Hmm. So I think this is where your personality and attitude and character and integrity comes into picture, I
Hmm.
think, right? Uh, I think one of the most important thing is to be yourself at all times. I mean, of course, you can learn and you can be better yourself. That should always be there. Should always be learning from technology perspective, business perspective, or personal growth perspective. It's very, very important. But you have to be yourself, right? I mean, my own personal experience, right? When I traveled to US and started working there, you know, a lot of times I couldn't adapt to some of the things that happened there, right? But I stayed true to myself, right? And because I have been influenced with my upbringing, my parents, my siblings, my friends, my college, my school, and everything, right? You can't change that. We
Correct.
have to use that to our strength.
Yeah.
We have to use that to our strength, right? So rather than changing and trying to create a separate brand, you use whatever you have become so far to your strength and create that brand, right? So unless it's for some positive growth or positive outcome or some empathetic reasons where you have to change, it is good. Otherwise, I think you have to be yourself and people can see through. Okay, if you are different than what you are, especially at a leadership level, they will know. Now, the second thing and the most important thing is your words and commitments matter, right? For me, my biggest challenge and from very disappointing things for me was when people commit to certain things and they don't honor it,
Hmm.
right? I know, especially in the technology world, it's very difficult to basically say that I'm going to deliver something to you on this particular day. I think people who stick to those dates, they are the superstars,
Wow.
right?
Okay. Yeah. It's a commitment follow through.
Exactly. If you say I'm going to deliver something with, like zero defects, right? You should at least have put in the effort to deliver something with zero effort, zero defects, right? If you say I'm going to be there for some manager or some employee in a certain meeting, and if you're not there, that is not good. That is not right. So I think, especially at the leadership level, what you say matters a lot, whether it is with your client, whether it's with your manager, because people should believe in what you say,
Hmm.
right?
True.
So that's the second point in building your brand. And third thing is, of course, is the communication, right? Whatever you do, unless you communicate, unless people see what you're doing, your brand won't be visible.
Yeah, because a lot of people they are shy of even speaking out what they themselves are doing. They feel that somebody or the other will come and see it and recognize. And I think it's really important to make that noise on your own.
Exactly. I mean, you are lucky if you have a manager who recognizes you
Yeah,
and promotes you or does good things in your favor.
quite depend.
But
True.
yeah, but a lot of times noise gains attention as well.
Hmm. Absolutely. I think
Hmm.
always does.
My own personal story when I was a part of one of the firms in US, right? I wanted to become a manager, right? And I thought that if I do really, really good in what I'm doing, they will recognize me and they'll make me the team lead and then the manager, right? And I never communicated this to my manager. And my manager thought that, hey, I am happy with what I'm doing. Of course, I was getting my salary increases. I was getting, the promotions at the same, category, right? They just felt that Naren is technically very, very good. So maybe he doesn't like management.
Ah, yeah, correct. Yes, because that's what we are showing them. True.
Exactly, exactly. So you have to be open and communicate.
Wow, I think that was such an apt example. So, Naren, what would be your piece of advice to our listeners before we go into the next segment?
I think one thing is, you have to stay curious and always, be ready to learn. I
Hmm,
think that's very, very important. What curiosity does is it helps you to do things that you don't want to do,
hmm,
right? That's what curiosity does, and the curiosity takes you to places where other people don't want to go,
hmm,
right? The world is changing very, very rapidly, right? If you are not curious, if you are not adapting, if you are not learning, if you're not growing with the world, you are going to be left behind. Uh,
True.
so I think, gaining additional technical knowledge or, all those things by default, you have to continue to do it. But I think, uh, having that curiosity and taking, calculated risks and is extremely important.
Hmm. Yeah, the risk-taking appetite these days with so much of technology, and we've become so dependent on validating all the decisions we make that I think the risk-taking appetite somewhere has become low in people.
Yeah, because they feel they're very comfortable. If you go to any
Yeah,
company right, you have such an amazing office space, right? They give you
yeah,
free food, they give you, all the amenities like gym and all the
yeah.
other stuff. So you
Hmm,
get comfort. So
absolutely.
there are times where you have to basically come out of your comfort zone and then, take risks.
Very nice. Naren, I would love to go into the next segment, which is leadership rapid fire. And
Oh,
whatever comes to your mind immediately, I would like you to share that with us in like a word or in a sentence.
okay,
Right?
I'll
Okay.
try my best.
Okay, so here we go. A must have leadership quality.
Empathy.
Okay. What's the one thing you wish you had known when you began your career?
Can you repeat that question, please?
What's the one thing you wish you had known when you began your career?
I think I always thought that I can make everybody happy.
Yeah,
Had
and
I
that's
known that, I can't make everybody happy, I would have
yeah,
been in a situation. Yeah.
yes. I'm so glad you had touched upon that. What's your personal motto or mantra that helps you through your day?
Uh, be always positive.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which superpower would you choose? Invisibility or mind reading?
Okay. I would go with invisibility. I don't want to read what's in people's mind actually.
Okay, but I want to nudge you a little here. Invisibility, what would happen if you were invisible?
Well, if I'm invisible, I would just love to go places so that where people don't see me, recognize me. I just
Okay.
be there and enjoy, especially if I want to go to Joke Falls, right?
Oh,
Just want to sit there where people don't see me and they don't stop me from going after some hours or stuff like that, right? So I
okay,
just want to enjoy myself.
nice. If you
Yeah.
could change one thing about the corporate world, what would that change be?
You know, if there's one thing that I really want to say that I think people should realize that, irrespective of your role, whether you're the engineer or CEO or anybody, right? You are there to add some value. Okay.
True. Yeah.
The moment you get out of your company, right, everybody is same. If you're driving on the road, right, nobody knows you are a CEO or engineer, right? We are all the same,
Hmm.
right? We should never feel that, look, I'm the boss. I control people,
Hmm.
right? I think that it makes me feel very disappointed when I see people think that they are the boss, they control people. But I just feel that if everybody starts thinking that they are there to add some value in a certain manner, right, that would make a lot of companies much more successful
Hmm.
and people much more happier.
Nice, that's good. So thank you so much, Naren, for your time. I know how your day looks like, but you've taken that time to come out here, speak your heart out, share your insights and experience with our listeners. So thank you so much for that.
Of course, thank you so much for the opportunity, and it's so nice talking to you, Pyle. Good to see you again.
Yes, same here. And this one's for our listeners. This is Naren Narayana and Payal Nanjiani wishing you loads of success in your corporate life, in your career life. God bless.